Good morning and welcome to Health Essentials. I'm so delighted that you've joined me this morning to learn about how to make essential oil charms, and we'll also be talking about essential oils that help to reduce appetite, which is really timely right now as we're getting close to the core of the holiday season. So for making the essential oil charms, I've brought all my equipment together here. I find it really helpful to start with some kind of a flat surface. And for me, what's been easy to use is the Pyrex pie plate. Also having a glass or a cup with a flat bottom, it's really important it's flat. If there's some kind of a ridge or a rim on the bottom of the glass or the cup, it's not going to work as well. And I'll show you the type of clay that I'm using. And I'm not promoting this particular company, but this is the type of clay that you want to use. This is a non-firing, self-hardening clay. And this is the type of clay that you want. You can get this usually in two different colors, white or a terracotta color, one of the ones that looks like a garden pot. That's the terracotta. So I've chosen the white. And by the way, if you've had this for a while and the clay becomes hard, you can moisten it with water and let it sit for a day or so, and it will regain its moisture. And that's actually what happened for me. I hadn't used this for over a year, and so when I went to use the clay a couple of weeks ago, it was really hard, and so I've added some water to it, and it's soft again. So what you do with the clay is initially knead it to make sure that there's an even distribution of moisture, and then you roll the clay into a ball. And as you're doing this, look at it, and like you can notice that there's some kind of ridges and areas where it's not smooth right there. So something you can do, I have a little cup of water nearby, is coat it with water, roll it again. You're aiming to get it as smooth as possible, because exactly the way this looks when you're done with this part of the process is exactly how it will dry. It's not like baking where things change. You will get exactly what you have. So I have rolled it into a smooth ball after putting a little bit. Oh, there's still a little space right there that's got kind of a crack or ridge in it. So I'm putting a little bit more water on it. And then I'm going to take this ball and put it on the plate and flatten it. So now I'm using the cup or the glass in this case with the smooth bottom, and I'm pressing it just like you would making cookies. And so once I've pressed, I have a nice smooth round shape. And this one, then I have to peel it off the glass. Sometimes that's not so easy. You can put waxed paper on that will make it easier. So I kind of ruined the edge of it, pulling it off. So I'm going to this is one of the lovely things about the clay. I'm going to wet it again slightly. I'm going to roll it into a ball again, and we'll press it again, press it flat. So once this is pressed flat, the next step, if I can do this quickly, the next step is to make a hole in the top of the charm so that you can actually hang it, whether you're going to use it to make a necklace or whether you're going to use it in a closet. You could use it in a closet to freshen the clothes, to bring the scent of an essential oil into your closet. Or I've had one in my car for quite a while, and you periodically recharge it with essential oils, and you're constantly having a gentle diffusion of the essential oil. You could also put these in a drawer and use it to scent clothes or prevent moths. So I'm smoothing this. That's what I'm doing here in the background, is smoothing this so the edges are nice and smooth. And you see in the back there's that crack. So I'm going to be using the water and smoothing it again so that I have a nice flat back. There's no crack there. The next step, as I mentioned, I have these bamboo skewers, and you can get these in to kind of look, but they're in pretty much any grocery store. They are used for things like shish kebabs. So once you've gotten the nice round flat surface, then we're going to poke a hole. And what I've found, I usually do this on top of the pie plate, but I'm doing it here so you can see me doing it. To push it straight through and then roll, gently roll so that you can actually make a little bit larger hole. And I do it from both sides, both directions, so that the hole is even in both directions. And then smooth out that area again around the top. It's pushed through a little bit. So once you've got the hole through the charm, the next piece is to decorate it. And you can decorate it with all different kinds of things. So I'm going to show you some of you can use the tip of this and etch designs if you're a good drawing person. That's not one of my fortes, so I won't be doing that. I have all different kinds of stamps. If you're someone who enjoys working with stamps, you can use your stamps for this. I have the water always close by so that I can rinse these off as soon as I've used them. So for fun, I'm going to use the dragonfly one here, and I'm going to make an impression in the stamp. So you can see the impression of the dragonfly in the stamp. If you look at something and think, I don't really like that. The lovely thing about this is, again, you can either ball it up and go all the way back to a ball and start over, or if it's something minor, you can take the water and smooth it and start over again with the design. This is one that I did yesterday, and I don't know if you can see, I also have individual letters stamps that you can get. This is a lovely kit of individual letters and numbers. So you can also get a stamp kit like this and write your own words on the stamps. So this, my little one that I made last night, says love and joy, and it has a little circle in the center, like a wreath. So this is something then when you're finished, you can, you need to let it dry for 24 hours before you saturate it with the essential oil. This one's only been drying for about 12 hours. So I'm going to wait another 12 hours. When it's dried for 24 hours, I usually use jute, or you can use any kind of cord or yarn, string, whatever you want to use to hang it. Thread that through. You can wear it as a necklace. As we mentioned, you could put it in a drawer for moth protection or clothes scenting, in a closet for moth protection or clothes scenting, in the car as a gentle diffuser. Those are some examples of places you could use it. You could put them on a holiday tree if you wanted to do that. So this is, again, this is exactly the way I formed it, and that's exactly the way that it dries. And the charms will need to be recharged periodically with the essential oils. You don't need many drops. It might take 4 or 5 drops to fully charge the charm, and that will last anywhere from a month or 2 to 3 months. And when you no longer can smell the scent, you can resaturate. You can just add more drops. And generally, once you've used a particular essential oil on one of the charms, you're probably going to want to stay with that essential oil. Some of the more resinous essential oils like boswellia, frankincense, they'll leave kind of a sludge over time. But the more liquid, less viscous of the essential oils like peppermint, basil, they're not going to be leaving any kind of a residue on the charm. All right, so I want to share with you some ideas of essential oils that you may want to use on your charms. If you're interested in helping have some antimicrobial effect, like you've got lots of guests coming over and lots of people sneezing and coughing, some of the wonderful antiviral, antibacterial essential oils that you could be diffusing in the environment are, again, any of the citrus family, which we talked about last week. Also, peppermint has a certain amount of antibacterial, antiviral action. Cinnamon, clove are strongly antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. Tea tree is particularly antifungal. Eucalyptus, also all of the pine family. There's some of my favorite of the antimicrobials. So black spruce, fir, pine, those are lovely essential oils to have on here and also fit with, for many people, the holiday theme. at this time of year. So what are some of the essential oils that you could use to charge your essential oil charm that could also help reduce cravings, food cravings? So I offer you some ideas first to settle down and think about, what is it that triggers me to eat? It's not the same for each person. So for example, do I tend to eat more if I'm angry, if I'm sad, if I'm frustrated? Am I literally stuffing words that I should be saying to someone else? Or do I think I celebrate this way? This is how I celebrate. And that's something that's a deep discussion. One of the things I've pondered for a long time is, why, as a culture, do we celebrate in ways that are actually damaging? To me, that's been befuddling for a long time. So I offer you that to ponder. Why do we celebrate in ways that are damaging to us physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? That's odd. In some cultures, celebration has to do with dancing and music and connection with the divine. And for here, most of us, it's overeating or eating things that are really unhealthy, drinking a lot of alcohol, doing drugs, things that take us away from the present moment and away from our connection with the divine. So that's just food for thought. So some of the oils that could be helpful in that process, once you've identified what is it that's driving me to eat at this point, one is, where is it? Last week we talked about the citrus essential oils. I didn't bring them out actually today, except for bergamot. Bergamot is a distilled citrus essential oil. So bergamot, personally, I'm not a big fan of bergamot. And this is something that's important to know. An essential oil, if you think you're going to be using it for a particular purpose and you're going to be using it regularly, make sure you enjoy smelling it. Another side note here is that essential oils, they found in research, are helpful whether or not you physically can smell them or not. So for example, if you've got a really bad stuffed up nose, go ahead and inhale the essential oils anyway. They will be helping whether you register the scent or not. Same with often elderly people or people who've taken certain medications have lost their sense of smell. And again, they found in research, these still are helpful. If you've lost your sense of smell, it's not such a big deal. But if you still have your sense of smell and you smell an essential oil and you think, ooh, that doesn't smell good to me, don't bother with that one. Set that one aside. That's not one for you to be working with, at least not at that time. Lavender is a wonderful calming essential oil. I love the lavender, and that's something that when you have the charm, ideally you would be inhaling any of these essential oils for 15 to 20 minutes at a time. That doesn't mean putting it right up against your nose, but for example, you have it nearby and you're breathing, maybe you're busy studying something or watching something on the computer, go ahead and inhale and smell the essential oil for 15 to 20 minutes at a time. And there are research studies that show the more frequently and for the longer duration you're inhaling the essential oil, the more effect it will have. Having said that, though, I'm not going to recommend that you are continuously in contact with or exposed to the essential oils, because over time that can actually be damaging to the liver. Cami says, I love lavender essential oil. Yes, me too. Bless you. I love the lavender, and it's so calming. If the issue is more, I'm depressed, I can't wait for this season to be over, there are 3 essential oils that are wonderfully mood uplifting, and they're called the cephalic 3. They brighten our alertness. They've even found with one of them, basil, which I didn't bring with me to show. Rosemary actually improves our memory and concentration. They did that with menopausal women. They gave them a list of objects and asked how many they could remember, and the women who'd inhaled rosemary essential oil had better recall. They could recall a greater number. So the cephalic 3 are peppermint, and cephalic means brain. The cephalic 3 are rosemary, peppermint, basil. Those 3 help brighten and bring more alertness into our minds. So peppermint, love peppermint. Peppermint, I'll probably say more. I may do a whole Facebook Live just on peppermint. There's so many aspects, so many ways that peppermint is supportive. Here's rosemary, which I love. And I don't have the basil with me. Now, for some people, the food cravings, especially at this time of year, are driven by sadness. They're driven by grief. memories of loved ones who are no longer with us or events that have happened around this time of year. So I also want to offer you a couple of essential oils that are neuroprotective and nourishing, what in Western botanical medicine would be called nervines. One of my favorites is frankincense or boswellia. And there's research that frankincense, boswellia, actually stimulates alpha wave production in the brain, and the alpha waves are associated with calm meditative states. So is it any surprise that frankincense is burned in the censers that are in the Catholic and the Eastern Orthodox churches, and that people are bathed with the smoldering scent of the frankincense? So frankincense, I have an inhaler of frankincense and myrrh, both of them have a similar alpha wave producing properties. I keep this in an inhaler next to my bed so that if there's an evening when I'm not able to fall asleep easily, I use the frankincense inhaler. And then another neuroprotective, nerve calming essential oil is rose. And this is a rose absolute or rose damascena or damascena, depending. I love the rose. Rose is one of the most expensive essential oils because of the number of roses that it takes to make just a drop of essential oil. I believe it's close to 50 roses to make a single drop of rose essential oil. So it's a very expensive but also profoundly, deeply acting essential oil. So rose damascena or damascena is another excellent essential oil. One that I don't have here, another one that I don't have here, I didn't bring out my whole collection, is vanilla. And they found that vanilla, in a research study, that vanilla helped to reduce the craving for sweets in particular. This also has a very calming, mood uplifting property, the vanilla. And by the way, the vanilla is the part of the plant that it's extracted from is the seed pod of an orchid. So vanilla is really precious. So these are ways that you can make the essential oil charm. They're lovely gifts at this time of year, and also a wonderful way to grace your home, your car, with beautiful scents that can help you with uplifting moods, reducing cravings, and your clothes drawers and your closets. It can also help to repel moths and help to sweeten the scent of your clothes in a really healthy way. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a delight to connect with you, and watch next week for another episode of Health Essentials.